Welcome to our Devos this week, where we are looking at something I call the hard sayings of Jesus. What's a hard saying of Jesus, you might ask? Well, it's something that Jesus would say in a crowd of people that if you heard what he said at the time, you'd be like, say what? He said that? You would be really, really freaked out because it seems so absolutely impossible that Jesus would say these things. But if we really explore some of the deeper meanings of these things, it's actually rewarding once we try to apply what Jesus was challenging people with. And today's statement that he makes is no exception. Jesus says that we should skip our dad's funeral. So he tells them to skip your dad's funeral. Let's take a look at the verse. Let's hear the context, and let's really see what the meaning is behind this. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 20, Jesus said to somebody, a disciple who was following him, he says, look, the disciple has been following him, and he goes, look, my father passed away. Allow me some days to take care of, burying him and the estate. This is what Jesus said to him. Follow me and leave the dead to bury their own dead. If you look up the definition of savage in the dictionary, that statement is next to it. Jesus, he comes, and you think about Jesus as being this compassionate person. And here's a guy who's like, my dad passed away, and I want to go to the funeral. And Jesus is like, dude, bus is leaving. Sorry. If you ain't on it, you ain't on it. You know what I'm saying? So this seems so cold and seems so callous. But let's take a couple steps back, and let's look at what's going on in context. You see, at the time, and this is from a couple different commentaries that I looked at, a lot of times what would happen is people would remain after somebody had passed away to settle the estate of the person. And there was usually a transfer of property and money involved. Sometimes for wealthier families, an especially large portion of money. And there'd be rituals that they would have to do afterwards to be a part of, to take part in. And that would be, there'd be a financial gain to being a part of this estate transfer. So there's two things that are going on here with this statement. Number one, Jesus is saying, look, you are worried about money. You're worried about getting that estate money. You're worried about, getting what's yours. And the truth is, you have to let the dead bury the dead. What's he mean by that? He means the spiritually dead, those that are completely godless. He's talking to a would-be disciple, and he goes, look, those people are worried about that stuff. And I want to dare say, I'm going to issue the same challenge today. The more worried you are about material things and about having more and wanting more and getting this and getting that. And, do you have the designer this? Do you have, can you get as much money out of this situation, or can you get as much material things out of this circumstance? The more focused you are on that stuff, it's almost certain that you struggle with being completely devoted to Jesus. We've seen people like that. And this has nothing to do with being rich at all. I've said before, and I'll say it again. There's a ton of wealthy people in the scriptures that God uses to glorify his name, to preach the gospel, to give to the ministry. So wealth has nothing to do with it. The poorest people some of the poorest people that I've ever met have also been the most materialistic. How much you have has nothing to do with it, but the way you focus on material things has everything to do with whether or not you are truly following Jesus. Now, the second consideration of this, okay, so let's say we leave the estate stuff out of it. He says this, he goes, I'll follow you when this is all settled. I'll follow you when I get done dealing with this personal business. Discipleship is not something that you can just pick up and put down at will. And unfortunately, so many Christians think of it that way. We look at our relationship with Jesus and go, okay, well, it's Sunday. I'm going to pick up that relationship with Jesus. I'm going to worship him. I'm going to put it down, pick it up next Sunday. Or if something big comes along and, we have a life event happening, like a global pandemic, we give up our habits of faith. We give up seeking God. We give up seeking his face for our future. And we've proven that we are like the rest of the world. We have no hope beyond our circumstances. In fact, we are glued to the material things that go on in this world. Jesus says, if you want to follow me, let those that are lost spiritually take care of the things that matter not. And instead, follow me, come with me, and I will make you my disciple. It's all about devotion to him. And it's all about how you focus on the material things in this world and how much they distract you from truly following Jesus and doing what he's called you to do.